What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome back, man. Welcome back to the Sim Standard Hangout. Always happy to have you guys, man. And right now, I'm just waiting for the rest of the guys to come in. I know Smitty actually has some things going on, some personal things going on, so he may or may not be here. But either way, I'm expecting Azure to come on. If Azure doesn't come on, then hey, I'll try to man the show myself. I got my co-host here in the background. I'm sure you'll hear him here in a moment. But yeah, let's kick it off, man. If necessary, I could, bring some of you guys on the show if you want to come on. So it is what it is, man. We'll keep it rolling for however long we can. I see we got Neff is already here watching the show, so I definitely appreciate that. So yeah, man. So let me go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about tonight while I wait for the guys to come on. Definitely what I want to discuss is NBA 2K17. I mean, we're always talking about the things that are wrong with the game, so to speak. Sometimes you need to take time to, praise games as well, speak on the things that they do well. So we'll definitely talk about that. And that'll basically include, up through the last patch. And excuse the background noise, guys. That's the TV that my son is watching. I'm going to go turn that down here in a minute. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Definitely want to talk about this FIFA situation, FIFA 17 hackers. I read up on it on Operation Sports, that some guys hacked into their coins or what have you and, got away with like millions of dollars. So I want to just talk on that, man, as far as how I feel and things of that nature about that. And I definitely want to talk about the PS4 Pro. I'll give you guys I really can't say review because, like I said, I'm not the most technical guy as far as knowing all of these different megahertz and resolution, this, and that, and the third. I know the basics, but I'll give you my opinion on it, whether it's worth the upgrade, what I'm experiencing. I believe Neff1 has it as well. So, maybe if Neff wants to come on, he can speak on that and anything else. We always have the recurring topic of Madden. If anybody wants to talk about Madden, I'm sure we'll find a way to incorporate that into the show as well. So there you have it. So like I said, right now, guys, it is just me on the show. Let me check and see what you guys are saying here in the chat. And yeah, if you guys want to come on, let me know. I'll shoot you the the invite. Be happy to have you guys. If not, you'll just hear me talk for a while. And if it's just going to be me on the show, I doubt it will be 2 hours. So let's go ahead and get it started, guys. I'm going to talk about, go ahead and do my, the weekly introduction. And y'all let me know if y'all can hear the background noise. If so, let me know, man. I'll go turn it down. But if it's not bothering you guys, hey, it's not bothering me. Well, let's talk about the Steelers. Man, I'm not that surprised. I'm really not that surprised at where we are. I told you guys. I told you guys at the beginning of the season that the concern was the defense. Did I not say that? That was my concern. So I'm not surprised at what I'm seeing. Now, as a Steelers fan, okay, go back. As a Steelers fan, and most of you, some of you guys who may be a Steelers fan, we're not used to seeing this. And I think that's what's hurting, is we're not used to seeing it. But it is what it is, man. We have to understand what's happening. I said this 4 years or so ago, maybe a little earlier than that. I said a few years ago, and I see we got Smitty on now. What's up, Smitty? I'll throw it to you here in a moment. But yeah, I said it a few years ago. I said, what's going to happen when the Ike Taylors of the world is no longer there? Even though in his latter years, he was really no longer there. He brought his veteran presence. He could still help cover the intermediate routes, but he couldn't run. So the last 2-3 years or so, Ike Taylor was on a decline. I said, what's going to happen when Troy Polamalu is no longer there? I said that. When the Lamar Woodleys of the world are gone, and the younger James Harrison, even though Harrison is still doing his thing. But I said all of this. But in short, Casey Hampton, Aaron Smith, Brett Kiesel, James Ferrier, et cetera, et cetera. I said, what's going to happen when those guys go? You're going to go through a rebuilding phase. Now, fast forward to now. You got 3 starters basically on defense, even though Sean Davis is mainly starting in the nickel package. 3 starters in the defense. Everyone else is young. Ryan Shazier is in his 3rd year. He hasn't played a full season yet. He's young. Stephon Tuitt, same situation, 3rd year. He's coming around. I mean, Cam Hayward, which unfortunately just went down with a pec injury, that's going to hurt us. But Cam Hayward and Timmons are really your marquee guys in that area, as far as veteran and having, being there for a while. But everyone else is young, and they're going through that. Mike Mitchell, don't even get me started on him. Now, I wasn't high on Mike Mitchell when he came there. Last year, he finally had a decent season, but he is showing me exactly what I saw from him the first 1 or 2 seasons with Pittsburgh, period. He's not the answer. Robert Golden, first-year starter in the secondary, at strong safety. Guys, I'm not surprised. The only thing that surprises me is when the offense sputters a little bit. And it seems like I'm not making any excuses, but it seems like we can't stay healthy. You got a Sammy Coates out there with like multiple fractured fingers, which he's still going to play this week. Eli Rogers is coming around. AB is AB. Luckily enough, Le'Veon hasn't gotten hurt, but he missed some time early. Martavis Bryant, we know the story with that. It's just, I told you, I said, I don't know if we're that good of a team. Cowboys gave us a good game. Now, if there's any encouragement, you can say, okay, our offense looked like the offense. But here's the problem. Tell me what team wouldn't love for their offense to say, yo, we're going to give you 30. Hold the defense to 29 points, and we're going to give you a victory. I mean, you can't ask for better than that. If your team, your offense said, listen, just keep them to 29 points. We got it. You can't give up 35. You just can't give up 30 points, and that reflects on the defense. Now, we could talk all day. I want to throw it to Smitty here because my son is doing some stuff here, still in that party training phase, and we make sure he's not doing nothing crazy. I'm going to throw it to Smitty, and then I'll come back, and I want to talk a little bit, Smitty, too, about the Tomlin's decisions with the 2-point conversions and stuff like that. We'll get into that. Stop. But, yeah, Smitty, man, how was your week, man? And give us the latest, greatest on the Detroit Lions, man, as of now.
All right. What's going on, everyone? And basically, Lions, Lions out here putting in some – well, this is the interesting thing. They put in some work last week. They came through, made it happen, got the W, and then they end up getting first place the following week without even playing. So these dudes get the rest up. They get the rest up, get their practice in and all that good stuff. And then they end up getting first place. So that's awesome. Now, I think that, from what they're saying, DeAndre Levy is going to be playing this week. He's practicing. So I hope that he's able to get back on the field. It's still not 100% certain if he's going to play. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely liking what's going on with the Lions. At this point, I will definitely say I like, these guys have developed that late game composure gene, like they really have. So, I'm definitely excited in that regard. So Caldwell definitely ain't smiling now. So I see you there. But no, all in all, the Lions, they looking good this year. Like they're looking good. And what I will say, Stafford, I know, at least I would say locally. I don't know how it is on more of a national level, but locally, there's a lot of debate going on regarding Stafford getting that contract. And you got some people saying, he doesn't deserve it, he shouldn't get it or whatever. And it's like, why not? For, he stuck it out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he definitely should get that extension, especially considering, like, the quarterback position is, like, it's a position. It's going to take time. Even if we were to draft somebody, it's going to take time for that player to truly develop. And even then, is he going to even develop to be somebody? Like Jim Bob Cooter, I mean, hey, Cooter and Austin, they got us playing lights out. And see, like I said last week, I'll say it again. They need to bring the offense and defensive coordinators need to be brought into the game. They need to be part of the fold, when it comes to the coaching. Because as you see, it's not like we upgraded and got a bunch of Pro Bowl caliber not defensive, offensive linemen. It's just that our team's been coached up. You know what I'm saying? And we need to see that offense and defensive coordinator impact happen in Madden. Like you need to have an offense and defensive coordinator, and you need to have, and they got to have their respective grades and everything. I'm not saying you got to get the licensing on those guys, but you need to have coordinators in the game. You know what I'm saying? So we can't keep having the game where it's just like, yeah, we got the XP and all that stuff is cool, but you need to have it where those coaching staffs have an impact on the weekly preparation, and you need to have legitimate, a weekly preparation in the game. So, like a la NFL 2K5, you had your weekly prep Monday through, you had your Monday through, I think, through Saturday. You had your prep. So we need to have those kind of elements in Madden. Real talk. Game's not going to be, unlike otherwise the game's going to be falling short on that, CFM part. So, but other than that, though, I will say this about the Pistons. Drummond's got to step up and mature. He's doing some complaining and everything, and I like the fact that Stan Van Gundy is like, look, I gave you this big contract extension, but I will bench you in a heartbeat. And I love the fact that he'll do that, because what he's basically showing there, especially if the Pistons lose the game, what he's showing there is that, Drummond, you got to step up and be, number one, you got to be a man about this. Number two, you got to be a leader, because you're getting leadership money. You gotta step up and be that leader. You can't come out here and be doing all that foolery now. Can't be doing all that whining and complaining. You wanted the money. You got the money. Now you got to make it happen as a team leader for the Pistons now. So, but 82 game season. They're at 500. They lost last night to the Knicks. Porzingis was balling out of control. So he was big time balling. So I can't not what he did out there. So, and I don't know if Drummond had played because I didn't get to see the game. So I don't know. I just got to see the score. I heard about the score on the radio, so I didn't get to see any of the game, unfortunately. But from what was said, he was putting in that work. Dude's gonna come up and be a beast. He's showing it. So, but I do like the progression of the Pistons. I just look forward to seeing, when Reggie Jackson is able to get back into that fold, how things are going to work out as a collective. So, but I'll throw it back to you, Sim.
Yeah, man. Definitely. And before I bring Neff in here, I just wanted to speak on the Tomlin thing real quick. I spoke on it on Terrible Towel. This is the thing. Like I said, as fans, we're very fickle. And I say we because anytime I'm talking about a community, I throw myself in it. I like to say that I've matured, so to speak, as a fan. Is like, I try to look at things with an objective standpoint. What would I have done? What makes the most sense, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the thing. And when I've talked to some Steelers fans, they was like, you know what, Sim, you're right. Coming into that game, the Steelers were 10 for 13 with 2-point conversions. We led the league last year and this year. We have a very high percentage. We practice it more than any team in the NFL. We execute it more than any team in the NFL. The problem that I had with the conversion tries on this past Sunday was conversion try number 2. The first one didn't bother me that much because Tomlin has done that quite often and it's worked. And I can't speak for him, but I think I know why he does it, because he roundabout mentions it. You know, Tomlin is real good with telling you exactly what's on his mind, what went right, what went wrong, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, he doesn't give everything away. But if you can read between the lines, he basically said the reason why he does it is because it automatically creates, obviously, advantage. Because if you get 8, and let's say you kick a field goal later, being up by 11 is way more advantageous than being up by 10. You know what I mean? Because now, let's say it's a close game and you force that team, they still got to get that 2 also. So that's kind of why he does it, because you notice if you've really been watching the Steelers, and like I said, the times that we were successful, we didn't do it every play. So obviously he has a plan. He's probably trying to get 2 points somewhere and then, you know, do the math. Here's my problem with it, though. In that game, I felt like just doing my own math. When we were up 12-3, I say kick the extra point and go ahead and get it back to your normal, you know, your normal disparity there. Kick the extra point, you go up 13, then it's 13-3. That's a normal 10-point gap, touchdown, field goal. To me, it's still a 2-possession game. And to me, it didn't change the outcome of the game, but it could have changed the way the Cowboys approach their offense. Just imagine if we kept kicking the extra points and we kept being up by a full 3 or something like that. It may have changed their approach. I don't know for sure, because at the end of the day, guys, you know, while people were yelling and cussing and screaming, what was the final score? I believe it was 35-30. That's 5 points. We left 4 points off the board. So at the end of the day, you can't say that's why they lost. Like I said, let's do the math. Your offense gives you 30 points. You ain't got no business losing a football game. If I'm a coach, if Smitty's a coach, if Azure is a coach, and Neff is a coach, and my offense tell me we're going to give you a coach, we're going to put 30 up, I expect my defense to hold that other team to at least 29. So to me, the 4 points difference there was a little bit irrelevant, even though I personally, and I still ain't ready to throw him out the window. That's what kills me. People are saying this dude is a bad coach. That's your opinion. I believe he is absolutely not a bad coach. But at the end of the day, even with me saying that's my guy, I disagree with that second attempt. Then from there, you know, going forward, we had to continue to go forward because now you're playing in the catch-up game. So it is what it is. But like I said, man, it's not unusual for them to go for 2 on the first touchdown. We've seen them do it. They actually did it against – did they do it against – no, it wasn't against New England because Ben didn't play. But you've seen them do it quite often. Did it against the Redskins. I mean, it's not out of the norm. So that's – some Steelers fans, Smitty, it killed me with that because they act like when we win, and I challenge people on Twitter. Y'all see that. I'd be like, oh, we won the game. Is he still a bad coach? You know, like when we win, ain't nobody got no problem. But I feel like if you don't like a guy, I respect the people who complain about him, whether he wins or loses. Then I can say, well, I respect your opinion. But the people who ready to throw coaches out the window, even like you said with the Caldwell thing, it's like, I mean, I don't know if he's a great coach, but I don't think that man's a bad coach. It's just I think fans get crazy. And this is the last thing I'm going to say before I bring Neff in. Always remember this, for whatever team you love, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, etc. When a new coach comes in, more than likely there are going to be some struggle years. Question to the Steelers fans: we fired Coach Tomlin right now. Who takes his job? Who takes the job? Who takes us to the promised land when we get rid of Tomlin? Like, I mean, immediately, because that's what I guess that's what we want is it to happen today. So who is the candidate that's going to propel them to the I mean, now they up there in the upper echelon. I mean, we 14-2. Who's doing that? I don't think it's so much coaching as it is those players. Those players are not getting it done. Coaches, yes, there could be some things like maybe the defense, you know, some of the plays are being called a little wrong, even though I see that the Steelers are taking action on that. They kind of called out certain guys, and certain guys are going to be on the bench this week. Love to see that. Clearly show where some execution was wrong on that last play by Zeke, but that's neither here nor there. My point is players have to execute, coaches have to make the right calls, and sometimes we may not agree with that coach's call. But I don't think that man is a bad coach by any stretch. There you go. But Neff, come on in, man. Before we run down these topics again, whatever you got for us, man, take it away.
Hey, what's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What's up, Smitty?
Hey, what up?
All right, man. I guess AZ's coming in later, but as far as the Steelers and Cowboy game, you were 100% correct, Sim, about the extra points, because if they would have made them go to have to score a field goal or a touchdown or 2 possessions to get the lead, that would have made a big difference, because Dallas wouldn't have ran nearly as much. If they know they're down by 3, they're going to throw the ball a little more. They're going to take a few more chances to get downfield. But the Steelers, by going for 2, made it easier for them to stick to their game plan. And that was the one thing I saw. But it wasn't a bad game by the Steelers at all. It was just that certain circumstances. No, the defense, both defenses didn't play well. Don't get it twisted. Dallas didn't play well either.
That is true. And you know what? I have to acknowledge that.
Their defense was getting burned up early, and then when Pittsburgh was using the combo zones and the zone blitzes against Dak Prescott, they were down 12-3. As soon as they start mixing in man and regular cover 2 zone and all that, that's when the comeback started. So, I mean, if they would have stuck with that game plan, I think it would have been a different story. But as far as the PS4 Pro, everybody's talking about it, I'm kind of disappointed, honestly. It wasn't everything I thought it would be. It doesn't really stream in 4K or play your games in 4K. I got a 4K TV I bought with it, and I'm not seeing a major difference right now. You know, I see a few things that are changed. It does have a little more high contrast and graphics, but, you know, most of these games we're playing on them aren't even made for 4K anyway.
That's it. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Building it up for that and all the other sports games. But, I mean, it's good to have. It's an upgrade. It's not a must-have. You better have it. It's just an upgrade. If you feel like spending $300, $400 and you got nothing better to do, then get it. If you don't want to buy it, you're not losing much. In fact, you're gaining more because that Scorpion is going to come out and blow everything away anyway. So, well, for what I see, for what the specs are. But otherwise, you know, that's pretty much all I got to say. But I'm just hoping that Dallas doesn't get beside himself at 8-1, thinking, okay, you know, we're the team, because 8-1 can turn to 8-8 real quick. I mean, we're 2 injuries away. If we lose Dak Prescott, we got Romo. That's not a major plus, but that's better than most teams. If we lose Zeke, we're back to 4-12 status again, because we don't got nobody to take his place. That would hurt. I don't care how they lose on defense; they're not playing that well anyway. But if they lose a couple of offensive starters like that, it's over. I'm a Cowboy fan. You know, I'm going to be truthful about it. I'm still not convinced until I see them in the playoffs. And then they got to get to the Super Bowl. Because until then, you know, it's just you had a good season, but no one runs around saying we're number 4. I've never seen that in the history of any sport.
Right.
So, I mean, if Dak's going to do it, he's got to do it on a large scale. I mean, he's playing good. I give him credit, but he's going to have those bad days. Every quarterback in the NFL went through them. And a quarterback gets away from those. So I'm just hoping they play consistent, less injuries. But as far as the Steelers, I still think they got a chance. You know, I know you don't get it twisted because you know your boys better than anybody. But I've seen them down and out, and all of a sudden they put on a 6-game winning streak, and they're the hottest team in the playoffs. So I wouldn't count them out for anything. And the Lions, Smitty, your boys are playing hard. They balling. They're doing what they got to do. And AZ's Titans are coming up. It's going to be interesting towards the end of the year because I don't care what Dallas is doing now. All I care about is what they do in the long run. Now it doesn't matter. But anyway, I will let you guys get back to what you're doing. Thanks for having me on, and I am out.
Real quick before you go, though, real fast.
What's that?
How you feel about, because I'm going to definitely talk about this as well. I just added it to the agenda. How you feel about that Romo press conference? Was it not the you know, how, not the way it came across as far as was he sincere? That's not what I'm questioning. But how did you feel about him even doing that? Was it even necessary?
Wasn't at all necessary. It wasn't necessary. He could have let that go. That's just showing, you know, it seems like they're trying to start something that really isn't in the team's best interest right now. You know, everybody that knows the Cowboys and NFL knows the story. You don't have to go, making more of it than it is. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, my own opinion, I think Romo is seen as the last, downs in Dallas. I don't think he'll ever take a snap again unless Dak gets physically unable to play the game. There's no reason to go through all this. Jerry Jones just loves to talk. He loves to keep his team up in the sauce. But, you got a young quarterback. You don't need to distract him any further than he already is. It's all about just team right now, getting the team together. If Romo starts playing and Dak has a few bad games, it's going to break that team up. That's going to be in this season. But my main thing is I'd rather see Romo get traded where he has value or just shut up and sit down and play backup. You're the highest paid backup in the world. Just stick to it. Because I don't want dissension to start setting in. Even if we go 8-8 and Dak has 7 bad games, we still have a better season than last year. So I'm not upset. It's a win-win right now.
Yeah, nobody's expecting it from him. So, yeah, man. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. I'm definitely gonna give my thoughts here on the Romo thing. But yeah, we appreciate you coming on, man. And
you don't mind if I hang out for a minute?
Oh yeah. No problem.
I'll just have it on mute though.
Now, here's the thing with me. I agree with that completely. I don't think it was necessary. I really don't. Listen, I understand what he did. I understand why he did it, and I commend him for that. To be able to say, look, this man deserves a start, I think that was very admirable by Romo. To me, that could have been a team meeting. I don't think a press conference was worthy because I think the world knew. And I think most people were saying, hey, ain't no need to bring Romo back. And I think the public would have been cool with him just being the backup, no talk of it. Maybe, a quick question, maybe a question after a game, not holding a press conference. To me, to hold a press conference, I just didn't see the point of that. I'm not knocking Romo. I don't know him as a man to man. I don't know him personally. I'm just saying I won't feel in it being its own conference. But I think what he did was great because that shows leadership as well. Whether his intentions were, for himself or not. I see some people saying that. We don't know. Either way, it showed leadership, whether it's sincere or not. That showed leadership. That's a true leader, in my opinion, to be like, look, I know I'm the guy, but listen, this man is playing great football. We're 8-1, something I haven't done in a very, very long time, if ever, because I don't think Romo has ever won that many games straight. You got to let the man keep playing, and I think that was cool. I just didn't think it was worthy of a press conference. But real quick, Smitty, man, I don't know if you can really give an opinion as of yet because I know you passed on it, and I know Neff has it. So I want to go ahead and tackle that topic real quick before we move on. With the PlayStation Pro, man, it's not, and you see, I knew this going in. I didn't think it was going to be something that was going to knock my socks off, so to speak, because number one, when you research things, and I'm not saying people didn't research, I'm just saying when you read up on stuff and you talk to certain people and you have the ability to talk to, some guys you might know in that industry or what have you, I knew the quality wasn't going to be so much different because number one, and Neff hit on it, the games are not made. Most of these games right now aren't for native 4K. I think FIFA is one of the games that has one of the higher resolutions. And there's a video. These guys, their name is Digital Foundry, I think their name is. They show, and I actually tweeted it. They show the comparison of PlayStation 4 and then the PlayStation 4 Pro, and you can clearly see in FIFA where it's a difference. Now, is it a huge difference? No. I mean, yeah, it looks better, but I promise you, if you play FIFA right now, and then you go upstairs, wait an hour, come back down, play it on a PlayStation Pro, you probably gonna notice it, but not enough to where it blows your head away. Because it's like those things in general, you can't really see once you start getting, like, think about it. When you watch YouTube, and now YouTube is a bad example because everything is compressed. But where you really see the difference is when you go from standard definition to 720. But from 720 to 1080, it's a difference, but can you really, really see it where you like, oh, I gotta watch it in 1080? See what I'm saying? It's one of those things. Now, don't get me wrong. I've done the test myself, and I actually don't have the other PlayStation anymore, which y'all know that's how I do. I buy things and I'm able to sell them at the right time to where it doesn't hurt me, doesn't come out of my pocket, so to speak. So it was an easy transition to the Pro. I didn't really pay much for it, right? But I was able to see the difference. And I was like, oh, okay. Even on my TV where I can cut HDR on, blah, 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 I can see the differences. But it's not something that's going to blow you away. Is these games, the ones that I got an upgrade that basically allowed them to scale. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but it's like an upscale to 4K. It's not native 4K. However, I think FIFA's one of them. I could be wrong. Some of them are. But I've seen from comparison videos, FIFA looks the best. Here's the other problem. The developers this is what I'm getting from, some of the research I've done. They have to figure out how far they can push a game. Games like, The Last of Us and games like that. And from what I was hearing, based on how far they go with the resolution or whatever, affect the performance, because those same guys, Digital Foundry, they did a lot of comparisons showing you the performance. In some games, the Pro actually was dropping frame rates in certain screens. PlayStation wasn't. But like I said, it's because those games were optimized at a lower resolution. Again, I could be butchering this explanation because I don't know all these terms. I was able to determine, like Neff said, those games were not optimized to run upscale. So what's going to happen is going forward, start coming out now in the upcoming games, going to be optimized to run 4K, then I would imagine you would see a nice difference as well as a performance enhancement. That's just my guess, especially with the Scorpio coming out. I'm thinking now that all of these developers now, as they develop their upcoming games, they're going to be more optimized for 4K. So, and me personally, I didn't buy the Pro just for a visual effect. I had other reasons why I bought it. I'm a gadget guy. I always do that. So it's not a big problem for me because I sell stuff. Boom, get the next product. But okay, hold on. But is it a must-have? It's all depending on the individual. I don't think if you have a regular PlayStation 4, you're gonna be highly pissed when you go to your boy house and you see his. You might look at it and be like, "Oh, that looks pretty good. I can see a little slight difference." But I promise you, it ain't gonna make you go home and throw yours in the trash. So no, I don't think it's a must-have, so to speak. It has its benefits. Don't get me wrong. I mean, being able to record the clips and things, now at 1080, you can stream at 1080, all those different things. And I'm sure they're going to be the console as it goes along. That. Features, it has a bigger hard drive. It's a terabyte for guys who don't want to manually update their hard drive. There's some benefits there for people who are into that type of thing, but I don't think it's a must upgrade. It's not a must upgrade in my opinion, but that's all I got on it. Smitty, like you said, I know you haven't purchased it, but did you have any thoughts, or can you add to some of that technical stuff that you may know, like what I'm trying to explain to people? Like, you're gonna see a difference, mind blowing. Because again, am I right in saying that, Smitty? I know you know a little bit about this. That these games right now, they're not optimized to run on 4K.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, basically, okay. Like, man, I put it like you know, the way I feel about it in general is that whenever a new console, new platform, new whatever drops, it's like you have a crowd that runs to it. It's just like, like when the plasma TVs first came out. Everybody was like, yo, you got to get that plasma. Look how great the picture is and all that good stuff, right? Now, of course, the price tag was ridiculous back then, but, it's just the mere fact of the matter that people were really mind blown by it at first. But if you waited and you gave it a little bit of time and just waited long enough, you would see, a lot more in terms of, you know, um, like in terms of what you would get from like other, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like you would have like other, other fellow gamers, other individuals that would, end up purchasing the product at a later time. You get to see some of the games, you get to see some of the hardware come around a bit more, and then it seems a lot more worthwhile to go ahead and make the purchase. That's where I'm at with it. Cause I've went through, I've done the different aspects of before, like, before where I would purchase a brand new TV right when that a particular edition come out. And it's like, yeah, it's cool, but if I waited 6 to 8 months, I could have got an even better TV that has the same capability than the one that I had bought, and it would be around a comparable price point. So it's like when I look at the consoles and I see, what's going on right now, there isn't really like I don't see this huge differential and in terms of like, yo, I gotta get this, or I need to get this console, what have you, or oh, I need to swap up and get it. Like I don't see anything worthwhile right now. That's why I'm like year and maybe two. I mean, it can all depend. Maybe given that little extra time, then yeah, it'll make a lot more sense to go ahead and get the console. But right now, though, it doesn't. It's not worth it to me to do that just for basically for upscale graphics pretty much. I mean, I don't know all the other features if there are any that would be more of a big time selling point, but I know that I'm not really concerned about it right now. Like I can wait, you know what I'm saying? And then like once the excuse me, once it's truly worthwhile, then yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll definitely get it when the time comes. So, but right now though, man, I'm good. Like I'm good with I'm good with the TV that I have and the TVs that I have, and they do the job just fine. You know what I mean? So if you got instead of seeing, and that's the whole thing. Okay, think about this. This perfect point. I don't give a care how good NBA 2K17 looks in 4K. Gameplay is still hot garbage to me. You know what I'm saying? It's so hot garbage. I mean, look, I know one of the topics we're supposed to be talking about 2K17 likes. I like the fact I got good trading value so I can get this Battlefield 1. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. That's like I trade that thing in. But the bottom line though, real talk, this is on more serious tip. I can't get with it at this point because like and I mean Sim, you said it, but when these games develop more and it becomes more of a standard to see the games in 4K, that's when the value of these console of the console will make a lot more sense. You know what I'm saying? And we'll have a bigger library of games. Like it would be nice to see Mass Effect Andromeda come out in 4K off top. Not you got to get this patch, but just come out and it's like cool. Everything is scaled, everything is set because we don't know what kind of excuse me, we don't know what kind of impact these updates may do to the game. You know what I mean? Is it going to do something like what is it going to hurt the game performance at all? Because like what I seen some guys posting in the comments in here was, that on shooters, having that 4K update is like a step behind if you're playing on a base model versus, I think DJ said it. You're on a base model, there's a delay or whatever when you're playing on the base model version versus playing on the 4K. And see, if it's doing stuff like that, they need to iron that all the way out. And that's why it would be more worthwhile to just wait until, like I said, a good 6, 7, 8 months down the line, like maybe around the time when Madden 18 come out, it'll be a lot better. It'll be a lot more optimized, and devs would have a much, a better handle on it. So but that's pretty much my, my thoughts towards it right now, and that's why I'm just better off waiting and just playing with what I got. So I'll throw it back to you though, Sim.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not a must-have. It's really preference. It's the same difference as people right now who have a plasma TV, a LCD, a LED, UHD, OLED. It's like outside of a standard tube television, yeah, maybe LCD as well, because you can definitely see a significant change between LCD and LED. But what I'm saying is, if you look at an LED TV, you watch a football game or whatever you watch, you walk in Best Buy or what have you, and you look at those displays, and some of them TVs look phenomenal. I mean, even the KS 8000, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But when you go back home, your TV still looks good. That's right. The point. It's not like it's a must-have. And like Smitty said, and I'm just one of those people that read up on stuff. I know Smitty does, and I research things. I knew what to expect out of the Pro. Now, I've been told everybody I was going to do an actual video giving my explanation. I may still. But the reason why I got it is because I know that's where things are heading, right? And again, I'm a sell person. I'm a person that a lot of times, if I'm going to sell something, I'd sell it when I can get the money I need, right? Because I had a couple games unopened, compliments of, I won't say names, but I had a couple games that were unopened. I was able to sell my current PS4 for $250. So I was like, I'm not going to get that at a later date. I'm not a person that harbors consoles. That's just me. I don't really keep them. Like, I might keep a console for a while. Like, I kept my 360 for a long, long time. But I just don't keep that stuff. So I know if I'm going to upgrade to a console, I think we're at the point now where we could probably say I wouldn't expect any console at this point to be trash and the older one is better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think the PS4 was going to be worse than the PS3. So it wouldn't have made me uncomfortable to get rid of a PS3. Same thing with the Xbox. If I would have sold the 360 to go to an Xbox One, I wouldn't have thought in my mind, the Xbox One going to be worse. So I probably would have let it go. Now, back in the day, I kept all of them, the consoles. I had the PlayStation 1. I had the Genesis. I kept that. But as I got older, I'm like, what am I keeping this stuff for? I'm not going to go back and play those games. That's just me. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. It's based on the individual. So like I said, fast forward again to what I said. I'm a person who sells things when I don't really need them no more. I sell at the right time so I can get money for it. Bam. I actually sold the PlayStation, ironically, for more than I paid for it, because when I bought the PlayStation 4, I had like gift cards and things like that I didn't even pay. I paid $200 for the PS4 when I first got it. So I actually sold it for more than what I paid for it. Just luck of the draw. So I was like, this is going to be the best time, because come next year, by the time this Xbox Scorpion comes out, that's going to be the hype thing at that point. Trying to sell a normal PlayStation 4 at that time when the PS4 Pro has already been out. And like Smitty said, great point. You're 6 and 7 months down the road. Now these games, you start hearing about more games that are optimized for it. It's going to be hard to get that PS4 off. So that's my reasoning. And as far as, I was already in the market. I had been bought, like had my eyes set on this particular TV months before this console. So it just worked out perfectly for me. So that's why I did it. But that's what I'm saying. It's not a must have. If you're not in a position to do it, or if if you're trying to really know should I or shouldn't I would tell you right now, I don't think it's a big deal to have today. But maybe you'll get it later, and maybe there'll be a price drop at some point. Maybe not, though. Here's the only thing I would caution people. Price might not drop, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if that Scorpion drops, and the PlayStation, obviously I wouldn't think there's going to be another PlayStation then. Could be, who knows. But I'm pretty sure that Scorpion going to be around 500. 400 to 500. It's got to be. Because just reading up on the specs, and if they pull it off, because I've heard some people too who are into this type of thing. It's like, man, it's gonna be the same thing when that comes out. Could be, but based on what they're promoting, that thing gonna be, I'm guessing like $500, maybe $600, possibly. So that would force Sony to not go under that $299 or $399 or $399, whatever it is now. So we'll see, man. I don't know. So like I said, that was my reason for doing it. So I could, just like when you get rid of cars, unless you're going to ride it out for the long run, which I've been very lucky, knock on wood, most of the cars, pay them off, chill with them for a while, then get another one. But y'all understand what I'm trying to say. You're a guy like me, you know you're going to buy something, you can sell something and get money for it, do it. If not, wait. When City, well, I said City. What Smitty said is absolutely correct. Just wait, because the games are going to start coming. Right now, you're just getting an upscale. You're not getting many at all, if at all, native 4K games. So that's where I sit with that. But all right, Smitty, this next topic should be pretty interesting, especially since you've advised us that you've gotten rid of your 2K. I definitely want to talk about, and I want you guys to chime in, the listeners, what things you like about 2K. Because myself and Smitty and, many others, we always are going to critique games. We're always going to come out and say the things that we hate and things of that nature. But we have to acknowledge what they do well. You see me do it with Madden all the time. I do it with 2K as well. But I say, hey, maybe this is, a little something different for the show, because mostly when we've talked about 2K, and of course, we've gotten accused for it, we're talking negatively about the game as if we don't like the game at all. Now, before I throw it to Smitty, I'll give you my quick piece. But I know Smitty has a lot of frustrations with the game. Some of the same frustrations I share with it. I just choose to play it and deal with it, whereas it can be frustrating to where you'd be like, I don't want to deal with this no more. And I don't knock anybody that feels that way. But just to say a couple of things that I do like, I guess I can even speak post-patch. Now that I've gotten out of my own way, and thanks to DJ and guys like that told me, hey, Sim, some of those features you were saying that aren't there, they're still there. You just have to access them before you go into a game. So the fact that I've been able to cut off the shot meter, I like that a lot better. That's not a new feature, but I just like it because the way the shot meter is now, y'all know it's a little different from last year. And to me, it feels better with just being able to, learn a guy's shot. And it's more natural because subconsciously, maybe this is just my problem, I always look down. And I got so used to looking at that shot meter, you're trying to time it, and it's not in rhythm. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not in rhythm. But when I got to watch this guy's release, I'm hitting more shots. So taking that off. I like the fact that they not brought back, but they made it a little easier to do the bounce pass and the overhead pass. I have to say one thing that I did notice, guys, and I've heard this is a PlayStation Pro problem, which is weird. Passing icons are gone. I don't know what's up with that, but it has actually made me learn how to pass better with the left stick. Ball tangibility seems a bit better since the patch. I don't know fully. I got to play a little more, but it seems like I'm getting better steals. I love the fluidity of the game. You guys seen maybe my last video when I was talking about, I'm doing this team that I've created, the Pittsburgh Force. And, I'm playing with, and I just like some of the animation when it plays out. When it plays out, it's beautiful. You know how they take the body contact and the fluid animation and just looks clean. But we all know there's always problems when you're drawn into certain things, which can negate that whole feeling. But when they get it right, I got to give them a tip of the hat for that. The animation quality is great. It's fluid. It's fluid. You see, y'all hear how I said that? I was trying to say fluidity and fluid at the same time. It's fluid, and the animation fluidity is great at times. But again, not trying to be negative here. There's times when it runs into the advanced, the drawn in sequence. Okay, hold on. Go back in there as I deal with my little mini me. What else do I like? Talking about modes, I still think my league is the best there is right now. I can't say it's the complete best. I haven't dived into a game like the show, which I heard is pretty deep. But my league is just the truth, man. The modes in that game. I mean, from my league to my GM to my career to the park to my team. I mean, the game is very deep. Very, very deep. I like the enhancements that they've made to how plays are run. However, here's one critique. Maybe it's just me. I feel like, I got to say this. I feel like the plays run a little slow. The plays are running a bit slow. I don't know what it is. It seems like they stand there like they're just chilling for a while, then they run into it. And I find myself, not being able to get into the play. And this is even when I'm calling the play coming up court before I get half court. You know what I mean? Other than that, I do like all of the stuff. I know Smitty has mentioned this before, like the ACE system and, all of these things. Great. But the problem, again, not trying to be negative when I'm trying to be positive, it's still sometimes the animations and AI stuff just negates it. So it's like gift and a curse. But I love these things. When it works, it works. But outside of that, I know I'm missing stuff, guys, but those are the things that jump out to me. Player likeness. I mean, 2K has had that for a while, but they still have it. When I play against the Cavs, I feel like I'm playing the Cavs. Like Kyrie is pulling up and doing things that he does, and it looks like him. These things you have to applaud them for, even though there are going to be frustrating moments, many of them. The unbreakable animations, selective ball tangibility, body clipping, morphing. There's a lot of that stuff still going on. The lack of AI at times. But I have to give them their credit for what they do well. But yeah, again, before I throw it to my man Smitty, man, if we could get that type of franchise in Madden. I mean, Madden to me right now has just been very stale in CFM. I see where they've gone, and I got to say where they have gone. I can't say where they're going because I haven't seen much of a change. I've seen little aesthetic things like, okay, now this is better. We tune the way you do this and do that, but I haven't seen enough step forward. I mean, even like the wear and tear. Smitty knows this. This is stuff we've been talking about for years. The wear and tear stuff, man, in my league is just phenomenal. Let me see. Go back. It's just phenomenal. I mean, there's no other word than that. It's crazy. Imagine how that would work in football, guys. I know I'm sidetracking a little bit, but imagine if you had to worry about, look at my Steelers right now. Imagine if I had to worry about Sammy Coates' fingers because he has 2 fractured fingers. And, Cam Hayward now has a pec injury now if I decided to play him, which he's out. But you know what I mean? Or Ben. Now make that a real big decision where I can see, okay, he had this knee surgery. And after each game, I can see where is more wear on that knee now. So I got to be careful. Maybe I got to run the ball more. And those are the type of things that happens in my league. Excuse me there, guys. I had to yell at my little man. But I'll stop there because there's so much to talk about, and I want Smitty to give his because I know some people, Smitty, they probably think you just hate the game, but it's a lot to love. It's just that y'all got to understand our frustrations that we have with 2K because it's such a game that's right there. If they could just fix those little nuances, the legacy things, man, the game would be so amazing because I still have a great time with it. I just have to take the bad with the good. But what you got, Smitty, man? What are the things that I'll put it in past tense now since I think you don't have it anymore?
Yeah. I'm
What are
done
the
with
things that you liked about 2K17?
Really, the biggest thing I said was my league. The expansion, all the features they had in there, all of the when I started doing the draft, I did the draft. I started my league before the NBA draft, before the free agency, and it was awesome. Like I had a great time with that aspect of it. If I'll put it like this, if NBA 2K was a game where it was like out of the park baseball and you don't necessarily play it per se, you just do like your coach strategies and all that stuff, you do all the background stuff, oh yeah, 2K would be amazing. But when you actually got to play the game and you got to play through the stuff that's in the game, no, that's where the game falls all the way off. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I see DJ in the comment section there, like I love the game. I love this is what I always say about 2K, and this is the thing. It's a broken record. I love what they're I love the fact that they put so many tangible basketball aspects into their game. But the problem is that it has an extremely flawed level of consistency. It consistently has issues. Too many possessions with problems. And I mean, mind you, of course we could play the game with sliders and everything, and we can make the game better, but as a community using folk sliders and such, and there are some good ones out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some good ones. But the problem is that even with those adjustments, like I've tried the reason why I gave up on 2K this year the way I did was because I tried numerous slider sets. I played numerous games. I would do my own tweaking and stuff like that. And I can't get down with it because it upsets me that they're underperforming so bad. You know what I'm saying? Like they just keep underperforming so bad because it's like the same issues keep arising every single game, multiple times a game. You know what I'm saying? Ball tangibility. Been saying that for like 6 years, 7 years. Ball tangibility is still bad. It's better, but it's still bad. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that you got that, you have bad player, like your teammate AI is terrible. They don't rotate, they don't do a good job of rotating. Like I did a video on it. You know what I'm saying? Talking about it. And the funny thing is that video is no different than what I said in 2K16, no different than what I said in 15 or 14 or beyond that. Like they could talk about ace systems all they want. They could talk about how they could give us the most extensive articles and everything. But it's like, how long is it going to be for this game to be be on the status of almost there? You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that just gets so frustrating with 2K because the game has its moments where it's like it has a lot of goodness in it, but then it happens so consistent with the problems. It's crazy. And I seen somebody post a comment saying, basically, he said, "But Madden's legacy issues don't bother you." No, Madden's legacy issues do bother me, but but I will say this though: functional consistency, and we pointed this. Sim actually brought up this point with last year with Madden 16. Madden's functional consistency is better than it was with 2K, and that's proven positive yet again this year. So you don't have to buy into it or believe it, but I will say this: pre-patch, before doing all that patching and updating and all that stuff that was done on Madden, you can whatever, get out of here, DJ, whatever, dude. But no, what I'll say is, pre-patch, play this game on all Madden and all Pro versus playing 2K before they did their update of their updating, playing it on Hall of Fame. I promise you, it'll be a night and day experience between what you have in Madden versus what you got in 2K in terms of the foolery level. The foolery will be on the foolery. Yeah, you'll see some foolery happen in Madden. Foolery will be on swole in 2K. I streamed the game on playing it on Pro and Superstar and All Star, and you've seen the foolery there. So it's gonna be there big time. And I know some people, they just got their thing for 2K, and they just think like, oh, well, if you feel this way about 2K, you should be scraping paint off the walls on Madden. No, it's not about that. It's that 2K is that underachieving superstar that he's got all that superstar potential and he shows it, but he doesn't capitalize. He never truly capitalizes on on that potential. You see games where he'll put those numbers up and be like, that's the kind of player I'm talking about. But then you see these long stretches of games where they just underperform time and time and time and time again. You see what I'm saying? So when you have the gameplay being affected, this is my main point. The gameplay has all these good things. I love the block animations. I love the ball tangibility when it plays. Like when I played that Prelude demo, that was the number one thing I had. I was like, I love what's happening in this Prelude demo. But the problem is, the concern I had was, will this game translate into, legit basketball and keep it that way? Or is it going to be so intermittent? It's going to be touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. And it's always touch and go. And that's what's so annoying with the game. So, yes, the game is fun, but I can't get down with it. And that's the issue that I have. Like, and see, don't get me wrong. I didn't just trade in. This has got nothing to do with 2K versus Madden. This has more to do with 2K versus PES, 2K versus NHL, and 2K versus FIFA. You got these other sports games that got the ball tangibility, have better AI, have better organic animations, and don't have all the canned sequencing that just takes you out the game, have better settings that you can augment and adjust, and have a lot more responsive control. These are all things we've said needed to happen since 2K, 2K10, 11? Still waiting. You see what I'm saying? And that's the issue that I got when I'm like, man, I could get it out of all of these other games, but I can't get it when I'm playing in I can't get it when I'm playing in 2K. And and that's what so upsets me, because my two favorite sports are basketball and football. So that's why it truly irks me to the core when I'm like, man, I got to trade this off. But don't get me wrong, I'm still got my basketball fixes. I got 2K14 on PC. I'll be rocking that, but I can't rock with 2K17. It's too jacked up. it's too messed up for me to like. I want to enjoy it, and that's the main thing. It's cool that every game is going to have a level of flaw, but I want to be able to thoroughly enjoy the game, and I can't thoroughly enjoy it because of things like that happen in the game. It's a lot of stuff that happens in the game that really is annoying. In terms, and it pays great disrespect to the sport of basketball. That's the issue that I got. And when I see OG do those film room breakdowns and all that, I'll straight up tell him like, man, I wish that 2K could play like how you're talking right now. And I don't blame OG. I don't blame him, you know what I'm saying? Because there's only so much he can do. But the game needs to reflect, and things that he talks about, I believe the game could reflect, but it just doesn't. So, and plus, they're catering to the the My Part guys. You know, I know before Ronnie and all them would do their streams talking about cutting the cheese and all that. Now they embrace the cheese. You got dudes out here got 60, 70,000 subs, gladly, happily promoting their 7'2" point guard out there chucking threes with limitless range out here, just getting greens all day playing on the park. That's the scene right now. So when you see the game fall back and regress with patches and updating and all that stuff, it's because they catering to that nonsense. And then the stuff OG talks about and everything goes right out the window. It's annoying. It's very annoying to me. So, but like I said, ton of stuff that I could continuously talk about, but I'll throw it back to you, Sim.
Well, Smitty, while you were explaining that, this is what I was doing. Getting my popcorn ready because I knew there was going to be a "What about Madden" comment. I knew it. So this is the thing. I'm not picking on anybody, but I got to say this, and then we're going to throw it to Dez. If anybody watches this show, watches any of our videos, follow us on Twitter. If you still want to throw out but what about Matt? I'm not even listening to you because we continue to harp on Madden and 2K continuously, almost every show. So and it shouldn't even be us as gamers. It shouldn't even be all of that. It shouldn't be. Yeah, but when you don't say that, yes, we do first and foremost. But second, what does that have to do with 2K if 2K is the topic at hand at the moment? I don't understand. Like I said, I'm not picking on anybody. And my man that made the comment out, I'm not saying that he's trying to say that, but I just have to address that because this happens all the time. People come in my videos, yeah, but if this was Madden, really? Well, look at the video right before this one in the order list. Look at what I said about Madden. I don't get it. We as gamers, as sports gamers, as the Sim Standard, we are going to talk about every game. And Smitty hit it right on the head. We continue to say PES, FIFA, and NHL are leading the pack right now in terms of the things we want to see in Madden and 2K. Yep. We can't throw the show in that race because the show baseball is basically one man at a time. That's the only reason why I don't throw that in that argument. There's really no interaction, so to speak. So trust and believe when we're talking about where all of us who are watching the show, and us included, we mainly are the guys who talk about Madden and 2K. So for our games, we have to look at those other three that I named as the bar setters. FIFA right now, man, I'm telling you right now, I don't know a thing about soccer, but I'm having a ball playing FIFA. The game is so good. Again, shout outs to my man Bates in 87. He told me, hey, Sim, it ain't what you think. That's really, FIFA ain't as sim as people think. It's not. He schooled me on that. I said, okay, I fall back. I respect that. In terms of the things I want to see in my sports games, those games do it very well. So that's just all I got to say on that. But Dez, man, come on in, man. The floor is yours. Whatever it is you got to say for us tonight.
Well, first and foremost, what's going on, fellas? Hope y'all weekend good. Man. Hope y'all It's been continuing to improve in y'all coping since last Tuesday. I'm trying to get there. Nonetheless, you already know I had to say something right here, man, because I've been disgusted with 2K for a couple years, and it's not on some, and I that's talking about NBA 2K is probably the only time where I become one of those guys, and I own it. You know what I mean? Like they pissed me off so much, man, because they had it so close to being right. I think y'all talked about that either last week or the week before about 2K10, 2K11 was really when it was kind of like, all right, this is what it's about to be now. All right. Then 2K12, I thought was good, but a lot of people didn't think it was that much of an improvement. And I thought 2K13, outside of blocking shots, was probably the best 2K that we got.
Yeah.
As far as gameplay was concerned, you know what I mean? And then, because in 14, every shot could get blocked by anybody. I'll never forget that. You know what I'm saying? Having old Steve Nash blocking Dwight Howard's dunks and whatnot, like on 2K14. But then when they made the console jump, again, everybody's getting floored by graphics. Like at some point along, like if you played God of War 3, if you played The Last of Us, if you played Uncharted, graphics should not be the deciding factor for you, yo, because no sports game is ever going to have graphics as good as the best games graphics ever been. So 2K, all right, y'all got the shoes. 2K got the shoes. They got the equipment. They were the first person, the first sport to have the shooter sleeves. You know what I'm saying? They had all that. Changed the logo on the headband. You got, 5,000 tattoos that you could. So that all that stuff was cute. You know what I'm saying? The face scan was cute. And at the end of the day, because of all the gameplay issues, now the wonderful options you have in the modes become cute to me. Oh, that's cute. But what about when I'm actually on the court? And it's like I tweeted y'all, Keenan Allen tweet earlier today. It's not just me. It's not just y'all. It's not just that group of folks who's trying to push live. It's people who've been playing 2K for as long as 2K has existed and is not afraid to sit up here and say, yo, this just, they not earning my money year over year. And it's the thing. When people say, but you'll say that about Madden, Madden has gotten better every single year for the last 5 years. There's no arguing that. There's no arguing that. From 11 to today, it's not even, and I understand it's a console jump, but I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Let me just say something. Let me just say something real quick, and then you keep going. I just want to say real quick. I took a small glimpse, just taking a look around at some people that play 2K all day, and all they do is they literally be at the park and all that jazz or whatever, and they're up here going at it like, man, this game sucks. Man, they didn't broke the game. They didn't did this. They didn't did that. Like, these are dudes that devotedly spend time playing my player, and like I said, this ain't coming from some dudes that got 5 subs and 3 Twitter followers here and there. Like, no, these are cats that got tens of thousands of subs, and all they play is 2K. And dudes in the comment sections of those videos co-signing. They're not sitting up there saying like, "Oh, you wilding out." So, trust, it goes well beyond what we saying here. There's a good number of people that are genuinely upset and have been upset with 2K and how they've been rolling. That's what I'm saying. Dudes be playing at the park and doing all that jazz. Like, they're not regulating the game. Just like we talked about it before with Sim, talking about the how you can create your player, and you could create a center and give him Steph Curry's dribble motions and everything. I'm like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, go ahead, man. Throw it back. Go ahead, man. Continue.
No, along those lines, man, taken, I want to say a lot of dudes started the YouTube game and sports game and stuff specifically, like 08, 09, 20, that's probably when it started to really, when people really started making their channels, people really started to bubble. And if I'm not mistaken, looking back on my own life, I remember Chris Smooth, first video that I ever seen was him remixing the Kanye song off of 808s. It's amazing. But with all these ridiculous glitches in 2K showing how horrible the game was in 2K10. And that's when they first introduced my player. But the thing that's funny to me is that this dude has 3 million something subscribers, still putting the same gameplay from the same series of games that he made his name off of for trashing in the first place, which is hilarious to me because 2K is not in any position to respond to this type of criticism because folks are still going to buy it, but not just buy it, they're still going to drop an extra $60, $100 on the game after they get it off the strength. Like you can't even survive if you don't buy the $80 version day one.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, you know, one problem I've always had, you know, I've always refused to buy VC. It's not happening. Why don't they have service for people who have never purchased VC? Like, why can't I play against organic dudes? You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to if you bought VC, but since VC has been invented, I've been a father, and I'm not about to take money out of my child's mouth to buy some virtual attributes. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much it costs. I don't care if it's 25 cents. No, yo, put that in the game. Make me pay $80 for the game, period. That's a different story than you try and nickel and dime me with these microtransactions, man. And again, I only asked for 5 minutes, so I ain't gonna go too long. I said 2K was ruined when VC was introduced because I felt like that's their metric. How many? I have no inside source to tell me this, but I'm just going off of what's actually happening in real life. What is our incentive to improve this game on those levels and to do the work that it's going to take to fix these legacy issues if we're still getting X amount of dollars from VC and microtransactions for my team cards and whatnot, all the way up until the next September and October when 2K18 is going to come out. And that's been the story for the last 4 2Ks now. 2K13 was when VC was introduced. And every single year, it becomes more and more about VC. It becomes more and more about the cards. It becomes more and more about buying more stuff. Integrating your cell phone app with it. You got to take 85 something megabytes of data off your cell phone to put that daggone app on there with the notifications all day. Come in here and buy more VC. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the 2K, like I was like, I can't rock with this in concept because like not only have you turned what was the most, I don't know if there was a game that blew me away more than NBA 2K did the first time I saw it. Like versus any game that I could think of. Like I don't know if there was quite anything that I seen that was just like, what?
Yep.
What?
2K7 did it for me. That was I was like, whoa. That was the one that got me. So if if that's the metal, you know what I mean, seeing that and then if seeing the graphics in the show or FIFA or NHL or something like that, you know what I mean, I get it, but 2K set the bar real high from the beginning of their existence, man. And they don't, to me, whoever this current team of 2K is, they don't understand like the innovation that came out of their studios before them, because it's like what they're doing now to me is just like, oh, really just disrespecting us right now. And it's clear that my $60 is not going to change what they do. I'm cool with that. I'm rooting for live whatever year is going to come out. But I'm telling y'all, man, like it's going to get to a point, man, where like people really going to get upset and do the equivalent of, voting Donald Trump for president to get 2K out of there because they're finally so disgusted.
Oh man,
they're gonna cut off their nose to spite their face like I've been doing for the last 3 years. Because I'm just like, oh, well, I guess I just don't have a basketball game to play. I guess I just don't have one. And I just sit there and my mans will bring it over and we'll play and I'll throw my controller at the TV 5 times. And I'll just be like, yo, I should have won this game by 12 points, but I lost by 3. You know what I'm saying? Because dudes just threw the ball out of bounds when he was posted up. I got, you know what I mean? DeMarcus Cousins posted up on Rondo somehow on the switch. And the entry pass just gets thrown right out of bounds, right past his head, and he sticks his hand up and he'll catch the ball. Like, I could go on and on, man. I would never not give props to 2K and say that it's not beautiful. It's not, when it works, it's marvelous to look at. The stadium sounds are crazy. The commentary is ridiculous. You know what I mean? The mode depth is crazy. The stats they keep is what I really need to be in Madden, man. Like
ridiculous, man.
Everything, yo. Like everything.
My league is
I bow down.
My league
I
is
bow
it, man.
down. I bow
That's
down
what
to
I'm
it,
saying.
bro. But all those moments that you were playing in You're My Player, that your game you either lost or you lost 1.5 grades, you was an A+, now you're down to a solid B because your teammates for a 2-minute stretch just refused to understand how to play the game of basketball, and the other team you're playing against is roasting you like the last team and Coach Carter before they had their little halftime pep talk. Come on, son. Come on, son. They prove that they know how to illustrate the game, yo. Why is it so hard for them to account for us? And this is the last thing I'm gonna say. One thing that Clint said in this past preview cycle was that you can't program a dude not to walk into a wall in front of him if it's right in front of him. You can't program common sense. And there's so many instances when I play 2K where it's just like, yo, what are you doing, computer teammate? Offense, defense, rebound. What are you doing? Why are you choosing to play like this? And I had to think back. If you think about how much more fluid basketball is than Madden, you know what I'm saying? Every play on Madden starts on train tracks. Everybody's trying to get to a spot, and then whatever happens from there happens. But half the people on the field ain't even going to be involved with the play after the first second anyway.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Where everybody is being involved in 2K and is constantly moving, like, I would have hoped that at this point in the game, that the stuff that they're throwing us in Madden right now, you could clearly tell they were working on 2 and 3 years ago. I'm not getting those features in 2K that's getting me to the point where I'm like, you know what? I can put up with one of these legacy issues, but you're still giving me all 5, and I can't tolerate this anymore. Like, y'all haven't earned my money. I respect you, but we're done here. Same thing for this conversation, man. I'm going to catch up with y'all.
All right.
All right, man. We definitely appreciate you coming on. Great points. I mean, I don't really have nothing to follow up on that, Smitty. I mean, he's right. I mean, and you could say that. Like, I definitely want to comment on what Millennium said. I appreciate him always coming through. The microtransactions, it is what it is. All games have it. It doesn't necessarily affect us directly because you can choose not to pay for it. It does affect us, however, indirectly, because just like we've said in Madden, sometimes those crowds might be the ones that get more of the catering. So it's one of those things I guess we have to deal with, and we just have to continue to be vocal, our crowds, to try to get what we want, because it does kind of suck, and we clearly see it with Madden. Ultimate Team is still, the man of the hour, so to speak. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to change, but like he said, I mean, I'm not even going to try to add to it, but 2K could be such a great game. And don't get me wrong. What we're all saying is not much. It's these little things, man, that if they, just like with Madden, think about that. If Madden now, Madden probably needs to do a little more, but it's really the little things that takes these games to the great level. Don't force my animation, which 2K and Madden both does.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shift me into position, which 2K and Madden does. Try to eliminate the 2-man sequence and allow it to be 1-to-1, which 2K and Madden both has a problem with. More individual AI, which 2K and Madden has a problem with. They share these same problems. Ball tangibility, which 2K and Madden has the same problem. But if you fix these things, if you just make the paint really the paint.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't feel like there's no body and me trying to push a dude. And, think about real basketball. And I know you can't replicate that fully, but think about when you've seen those situations, you watching the game and Shaq or, anybody. Let's just talk about big man. They get mad at each other and one of them go down and he bodying this dude and the other one come down, he bodies him and they pushing and it's an aggressive foul. That stuff don't happen in the game. I feel like every time I control a dude that's posting me up, I'm just waiting on the dice roll. I don't really feel like there's any real defense. I can't body him. Madden, the trenches. I don't feel like there's real leverage, technique, relative positioning, stunt. That's what I'm saying. You fix those things because the foundations of the games or both games are there, even with Madden. I think everything that we can expect out of football, I'm gonna put a quotation on that because I could be forgetting something, but mainly everything that you can expect is there. Now they have to flush it out. Let's make a real DB and wideout interaction now.
Mm-hmm.
Just today I was watching Steelers.com and they're talking about preparing for the Browns, and they said, Terrell Pryor is not your traditional receiver, but one thing he does well is he goes and attacks the ball. He comes back to that stuff. Ain't in Madden. You don't really have it organically where a receiver just gets the ball and just takes it. That ain't in Madden. See what I'm saying? Yeah, we just have to get both Madden and 2K to push the boundary. How are they going to do it? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I'm not a dev. I'm not an engineer. I know it's hard. But that's what we're talking about, folks. It's like we got to push because, like I said, FIFA does a lot of this stuff very well. I'm not asking for anything that ain't there in another game. FIFA does it very well. The jostling, and you have Smitty. I mean, Smitty could tell you. I mean, you got to be in a certain position, and the way you lean and get bumped off the spot and still kick, and the ball is reflecting the way you kick. All of that stuff happens in that game. We got to see it in FIFA. I mean, we got to see it in Madden, and we got to see it in 2K. But speaking of FIFA, I'll throw it to you first, Smitty, man, because I read up on it tonight. I don't know if you had seen it before, but. So apparently there were some hackers that attacked FIFA, a group of hackers, and they were able to, manipulate coins or whatever, and then they sold them on the black market. And these dudes made millions. And, the FBI is saying they're going to try to prosecute these guys. Here's the question I had, and try to take a different angle. It's ironic that Dez mentioned that how the VC and these things are ruining games. Taking the angle on that approach, how do you feel about that? There's always going to be hackers, but do you think because there's so much focus on coins and mutt and fut or whatever you call it and whatever these names are, that these guys were able to hack the game to improve themselves financially? Is that, how do you feel in regards to, do you think because of it being such a big focus on those things that led these guys to do it? Or, you know what I mean? Like, first, do you feel bad about what happened? But the second part of the question is, does this kind of make our point when we talk about how these microtransactions types of things not only hurts the game gameplay wise, but now, you got the potential of these things happening because of those coins. Well, how do you feel about that, man?
Well, basically, hold on here. Well, first of all, just to cap off of what you had said in regards to the whatchamacallit, with FIFA, the last thing there. The main thing I want to say about FIFA is with the whole interactivity and everything is, and I did a video on it to showcase an example of it. I put it out there basically showcasing how player positioning is respected in relation to the ball. And that's not in Madden. There's a lot of independent things you can do while you're interacting, whether you're playing the defense or offense in FIFA. That's something they definitely need to do a lot of work on in Madden in that regard. But back to the whole FIFA thing with the hacking and everything. I mean, to be really honest, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's always crazy when you see these hacks come up and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm telling you, these Ultimate Team games and all these games that have currency involvement are crazy. I liked the video earlier this morning from a guy, what's his name? Shake and Bake, I think his name is. He basically does 2K games. And what cracks me up is people getting banned and all that stuff. Like people getting banned and getting temporary bans and perma bans and stuff like that for performing. I mean, some people do some shady functions, but that's why these game companies are being so harsh about this stuff. You know what I mean? Because this is the stuff that'll mess around and happen. Like this is what these cats do. You got people doing hacks. You got people doing like you were saying, Sim, black market selling coins and such like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I mean, you can't, and I know my man M1 here is basically saying, you know, you got guys to test it to make sure it doesn't happen for the game drop. Honestly, some things like this that happen, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You can't prepare for you can do your best to prep your game, but you can't get everything, and you're not always going to get everything. Look at Rex and those guys on Twitter. How dudes be sending videos and all that stuff about all these different issues and stuff in the game. Some stuff is like, hey, yo, we want to get it done, but it may not necessarily happen in this cycle. It may not be until a year, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? You see what I'm saying? So it's all part of, you know, what they're realistically able to do, and then what's actually going to, you know, like what they want to do, and then what actually is going to happen. And when you see stuff like this happen, this is like the unknown territory right here. It's jacked up that it happened to FIFA, but it could happen anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know, Sim. Like, I mean, I didn't read everything up about the whole hacking situation, but I just know it's jacked up. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you look at, no matter how you want to slice it, I mean, it's jacked up how they go about, you know, going in and hacking and doing stuff like that. Like it's wild. I mean, I know as you know, gamers always look for a way to get ahead. Some people look very much to get ahead. And it sucks when you have people do stuff like this. Because then you know what can mess around and happen is that there could be restrictions put in place on FIFA going forward that people won't like. And it'll be because of the actions of a few. You see what I'm saying? Just like with 2K, folk getting banned left and right. And you got people getting banned that may not be doing cheating. They may not do anything that's along the lines of cheating, but because it may fall into that category just because it's happened so much or whatever, now you're getting bans or you're getting penalized for stuff that you shouldn't necessarily be getting penalized for. And it sucks. So, you know, that's my whole feeling in that regard. Now, I'll throw it back to you, Sim.
Man, truth be told, I mean, I know I can't hate them people for doing it. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but it's like, I mean, the dudes, I mean, yeah, they probably gonna get themselves in trouble, but I mean, let's say if they would have made off with that bread. Hey, I don't agree with it, but I can't be mad at them. To some degree, I understand what Emil was trying to say, but here's the thing. We spend countless hours with Madden before launch. We see the game months in advance. And there's still things that people are reporting that I have yet to see. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I didn't see them throughout the cycle. Didn't see them after launch. Haven't seen them yet. So you can't say that, you know, you're supposed to have people in play. I mean, I think people get that a little twisted. Hackers are hackers for a reason. People ain't been able to stop Lizard Squad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just know how to do these certain things. So it's like, when it comes to hacks, I can't never say you're supposed to have safeguards. You should, but to say that it's supposed to be Trump type, that's almost impossible. You know, but it sucks, but it just goes to show what these virtual cards and virtual coins have become that major and that important to these sports titles that guys would literally come up with the idea, you know, we're going to jack this, sell them, and we're going to make bread off of it. That was an actual plot. And, they didn't rob a bank. They didn't go stick somebody up. They said, what we're going to do to make some dough? And made millions. Yeah, we're going to figure out how to hack these virtual coins, sell them for real money. That's what we're going to do. And it goes back to what Dad said. I just can't believe, this is my personal opinion. This is not a shot at any of you guys who indulge in that. I just don't see how it's that important enough. Okay, hold on. How is it that important to you that you would spend real money for a virtual card? Like I said, I'm not knocking anybody. If you got the money, cool. More power to you. It's just not my thing because I can't justify it. I can't take this with me. When a new game comes out, I start from zero. I'm not winning anything. I could see almost, let me put it in this perspective. I could almost see it if there were like MUT, if it's a MUT tournament, like say Problem and Serious Mo and these guys, these type of dudes, it's a MUT tournament that they can make their 20 grand off of or whatever for winning. And they build their team up in that regard. And they take this team around to different tournaments and they win it. And, but by the time it's over, they done won like $200,000 off of whatever they spent to get the team. I can see that. But I don't see you just being a MUT player. That's just your hobby. I'm not talking about 100 here, 100 there. That's light compared to the numbers I've heard, folks. I know people who tell me that they spend 8 to 10 grand a year on MUT. And I'm like, for what? Why? Like I said, I ain't knocking you. If that's your hobby, that's your vice, more power to you. I just can't justify it. But as you can tell, for a guy like that, yeah, he might drop that bread on the black market to build this team because now he going to spend it anyway. Why not get it for the cheap? But it's crazy that these virtual coins, cards, etc. has become that important to the gamer that scammers can say, we're going to make some money off of that. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But, man, let's see. What else we got here on the bill, man? I think we pretty much covered everything. I know we were going to talk about the Pro. We did that. We talked about FIFA and 2K. If there's anything else, guys, that y'all want us to cover, I feel like this, Smitty, and you probably can agree, since we have the luxury of being on Google Hangout, there's no set time period either way. If we finish up early, we can finish up early. And that's how it goes. Automatically, guys, we're not ending right now, but just letting y'all know in advance. Next week, I know last year we totally forgot, but next week we're not going to have a show. If I'm not mistaken, it is Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving Day.
So
like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
ain't happening. So
yeah,
it is what it is there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Some Madden talk. Let me throw this on y'all's brain real quick. We won't get to it tonight because I want people to really marinate on it. I've said this before, but I want to get from you guys, man, when we come back to the next show, after Thanksgiving. I really want to know what some of you guys' wish list really is for Madden 18. I want to preface it with this. Let's keep it in the realm of what we've seen them do. Speaking of Rex and that team. The reason why I say that is because quite often with Madden particularly, because we all feel like Madden is still a little bit behind in certain areas. Quite often, I think we lose sight of what's possible. We still have to keep in the realm of knowing, okay, it's one cycle, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen people say stuff like on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, do you really think, like, for example, people want a totally revamped rating system. That ain't gonna happen in a year, bro. I mean, I don't know if they're working on that or not. But Rex even came on to the show and said, we definitely want to do some things, but that's going to be some years to dedicate. Because, they got to take their whole system out and figure out what their new system going to be and get that to work. That to me doesn't seem like a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Now, what might be something they could do, add more traits. That's one of the things I want to see, because the traits, you see the difference there? The traits are already in the game. So to me, it seems like you can just dump more in there. That seems a little more attainable than, man, I want a completely different rating system. I want it too, but I just don't think that's something that could happen in a year. DJ makes a good point here, and we're definitely going to talk about it, man. I want to throw that out. I'm going to put this in the memory bank to make sure. But yeah, CFM, I would like to see some changes there. But go ahead, Smitty.
I was just going to say, one thing is, this is one thing. If we're talking about changes happening in Madden, people got to actually be able to embrace the fact that changes are happening in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had our debates with, and I gotta reference them. Like my man Majesty, my guy. That's my dude. But the problem is that when we say, yo, they need to make these changes, they need to make these adjustments or whatever, and we're talking about realistic stuff that can happen, like simulation difficulty, having the customization options and stuff like that. Too many people jump up and be like, no, you don't need it. No, you don't. Like, when, yeah, it is needed. And this is the thing that does need to happen. Madden there needs to be a level of difficulty or playability, I should say, or even customization, where I'm forced to utilize all the controls. I'm forced to, okay, I got to adjust my play calling because this. I got to adjust it because of that. Right now, Madden, I can call whatever it is I want, regardless of whomever it is I'm playing, and I can do what I feel like doing instead of doing what I need to do or have to do. If Amir Abdullah does not have good ball carrying skills, I should be heavily no, I'll take that back. Well, no, Amir Abdullah, but he can be the best ball carrier in the NFL. 99 overall ball carrying skill, whatever. But if I'm not using that ball carrying mechanic, let's say I chose to get skinny and I hit that button, slipping between the tackles. I got that ball out and exposed. If the ball hits his back or something like that, that sucker is squirted out. Doesn't matter what his ball carrier rating is. If I run through the middle and dude tries to come up and strip the ball from me, it doesn't matter if he's a 65, 70 overall. If I'm not using the mechanic to secure the ball, as that defender comes up to me and he goes for the strip, I should lose the ball. That's just like saying in basketball, if Allen Iverson with all that ball handling skill, quickness, and all that stuff that he has, if he's just standing there dribbling the ball up and down, and dude swipes his hand at the ball and knocks it right after, that's it. The ball's gone. It's loose. It shouldn't be, oh man, but his dribble skills is this. There's no way that should happen. Yes, it can. If I time it right and the ball is exposed, it's out. I'm knocked it out. Same thing needs to happen in Madden, because we still see the ball being tethered, where you see the ball going behind the back and dudes hit you all kinds of ways and the ball just stays in the arm no matter what. Like, that needs to be taken, that needs to be put in the game where it's looser in that sense, and it's not. So we need those levels in there, because when you do stuff like that in the game, now you got to actually pay attention, to what controls you're using. And you can't just disregard the surrender the sack, getting skinny. using the combination moves and everything else. Like you gotta, your hand is forced to use them. I would love to see, Madden make you do stuff like that in the game. That would be awesome. So, but I'll throw it to you, Sim.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to make a quick point, I guess, before we wrap up here. I know ML was commenting about, legacy issues and things like that. And Ray chimed in as well. Let me say this. I know we probably said this before, but I don't know if we've said it to this degree. Some of the benefits that we have for being game changers, obviously, we could talk to the devs, but not only the devs. I've been able to talk to engineers and designers and things of that nature. But the key thing that we all have to remember, even with 2K, the only reason why I can say this is, again, because I've seen how it works at EA. To me, like Smitty and I and Azure at this point is not, I wonder if they can do this for next year. Now it's more, what year will we see this? Let me explain the difference. Rex has even said himself, y'all remember, here on the show, when he said, listen, man, and he also, I believe he touched this on the All Verts or 4 Verts podcast, when he said, there's so much stuff, man, that we need to go in that's bad and take out that was put in yesteryear. You got to rip that stuff out, figure out how to make everything still run smoothly, then innovate, replace the old stuff, correct old code. Remember when he said that, right? Mm-hmm. So my point is, most of the stuff that we see happen year after year, the devs know that. 2K know what the problems are. Madden knows what the problems are. Now, this point is twofold, because you have those people who say, they ain't never going to fix it because they want to get your money. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that anymore. And here's why. Well, not from a dev standpoint. Now, as far as a proven budget and this and that and the third, that could be right. I won't outright say that the suits are saying that, but what we know for sure, as Smitty can agree, is they have a plan every year. They have stuff, man. Again, we have seen and heard of stuff that they want to do with the game that would blow your mind. But this is how it starts. Every year, they come with their plan. They have a production meeting early on. All right, what's the plan for the next year's product? They have a production meeting. They got a list of all of these different things. Let's just say they got a list of 100. They have the meeting, and then they assess how much of this 100 can we get, if not all, right? Once they figure out what's attainable, then they start figuring out getting it a little smaller, saying, okay, what can we really do at least amount of cost? Now, what we found out what cost means is not just necessarily money, but cost could be, okay, Smitty is the best engineer we got, right? We got a game company, like all of us here. Smitty is the best engineer on the team. We need Smitty to reprogram CFM. But there may be something else that's more of a priority, and we got to put Smitty on that. So now time and money allocation from here goes here because we need Smitty more over here. And once he's done, then we can slide in a little bit back over here. That's how it works, folks. So it's not about, will they do this next year? We look at it from a standpoint of what year is it going to come out? Mm-hmm. Prime example. What happened with the reach tackles? Remember, we was the ones that said, man, just, get something that make it at least resemble. That actually made itself in the game a couple years, like last year, I believe. It might have been. But guess what's not still there? The actual reach tackle, where you can grab the jersey and all that. But guess what? They want to get there. Because remember what we told y'all? We gave you some inside information that we had in the office. It was like, listen, when we want to do certain things, we want to do it to the fullest. We don't want to halfway it. So now to us, we know that's on the radar. So the way we look at it is like, all right, which year is that going to show up? Because that stuff is being developed. Remember when Rex said like the DB stuff, some of those things, he was like, yo, this was like something that we had set 2 years ago and we finally got it to a point. That's how these things work. A lot of people think that they go in each year and whatever features they set right then for that year is what's going to come out. That ain't it. Honestly, and I'm not defending this, but that's where the whole 3-year plan stuff came from. And Smitty knows this. When we go down for the very first meeting, Rex does a presentation that tells us that. It was like, all right, remember what we said we was going to get to at 15? We got that. Remember what we said for 16? Now look at here at 17. That's how it goes. So it's kind of like, yeah, we all should still push for things. This is very important. We have to keep pushing because believe it or not, whether some of y'all want to believe it or not, even if you do think it's a decision that comes from up above, the loudest things get the most attention. If the devs can show, listen, the people want this. This is going to affect the bottom line. Then that bottom line is going to be, all right, y'all do that. That's why we keep saying push, push, push. That's why a lot of y'all can agree, since we've been down with them, there's a lot of things that has actually happened because we've been loud and vocal about it. And Rex and them, I told y'all, I think I told y'all this last week, there's times when we go down there and there's certain devs that be like, yo, Sim, Smitty, man, thank y'all for saying that. Because I just had a meeting about that, telling people why we need this. Now, when y'all come down, like, believe it or not, game changers don't have a final say. No, we can't control what the game is going to do. But this is where we do help. And we've seen it with our own eyes. There's times that they're having production meetings. They call us in. All right, let's have a community day. We come in. What did they say? Because they make us fill out this big whiteboard and all of that. They take that back. Didn't we say this was one of the biggest features? Go back. My little man getting restless. But that's how it works, folks. I mean, that's how video games work on these yearly products. So all I'm saying, man, is we just got to keep pushing. But don't exert yourself or exert your energy feeling like, man, if they don't do this next year, I'm done. I mean, if you're going to have that attitude, I can honestly tell you there's going to be some stuff that ain't going to be done. It's impossible. You know, so I know that was a roundabout way of trying to explain why legacy issues happen. Okay. But really what it is, man, is it comes down to what's priority, what's not. And that's why I love people like Clint, man, because when we have conversations, them dudes will straight up tell you, like, man, we just can't even be able to get to that this year. Even look at the zone play stuff. Problem saying, nah, we couldn't get to the deep zones. We know, we couldn't do it. The only time we had was to address the underneath stuff. We'll probably get that next year. And that's honestly, man, that's all I can ask for from a gaming company. Just be transparent. I'd rather you just come out and say, we can't do it yet. We missed on that. We're going to try to get that next year, which Rex does a lot. If y'all listen to him, NYKia figured it out a long time ago. He will tell you everything if you just listen. But that's my quick spill on it, man. I think, like I said, I went all the way around the barn and then ran around the track twice to get to the point. But my point is, that's probably why legacy issues are in these games, man, is because it might not be priority. You know, when they got to get certain things approved, the boss might say, well, how many people really complaining about that? We can do that another time. We really need to go get this. That's how it works. That's why we have to voice our opinion. But that's all I got, man. Smitty, you can definitely go ahead and close us out, man.
Well, pretty much all I gotta say is thanks for everybody, you know, everybody that came through, everybody that got on the line or was active in the comment section there on the side there. I mean, we genuinely do appreciate everybody that, you know, that does get involved on the show here every single week. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely do look forward to getting it in on next week. You know, I mean, not next week, but the week after next, so we can, bring those points to the table. Think about what it is you had your discussions on, and heck, other than that, we'll we'll definitely reconvene, and I look forward to hearing some great feedback points from people. And and heck, we would even like to get a little bit more interactive with it in terms of talking with y'all about it in a few weeks. So but basically, we all, like I said, I definitely appreciate you. I know Sim definitely does. And other than that, man, I really don't have anything else to say other than deuces. See y'all in 2 weeks.
And yeah, I'll end it with this, man. I'm gonna take a light jab at somebody I respect. That OG, that's my guy. But I'm gonna make a comment that Millennium just said. He wished more people would understand. Just read Clint and Rex's tweets. They tell you everything, like I said. Which people on the other side, you don't hear that from 2K. And OG, that's my guy. They don't. I could get stuff out of them, but they don't come out and tell you this. Like, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying one is better than the other. All I'm saying is I want my interaction to be what Rex and them gives me, what I see from the Battlefield devs. I see it from the Mass Effect crowd. There's numerous other games. I need that type of interaction. The dudes that just tell you straight up, hey, I think even MLB and them do a good job. Like Ramon and those guys. Some people might have different experiences with them, but most of the time they straight up be like, yeah, we couldn't, we ain't gonna be able to do that. Like, remember when they came out and told you that when the new consoles came out, when the PS4 and all that dropped, when they was like, it's gonna be the exact same game. They came out and said, yo, the game on PS3 is the same game on PS4. The only thing we did different was add some graphics and rendered a few more crowd models. That's what I'm talking about. We need that, and 2K don't seem to do that enough. That's the only beef I got with them, and I don't hold it on my man OG, because I know that he got a boss and all that too. Because I know how my man OG gets down. I know him personally. That's my guy. But like I said, I gotta make fun and say I'm taking a light jab, because that's the company he works for. They don't do that. Rex and Clint tell you straight up. Clint will even be like, nah, it don't work like that, man. It should, but it don't work like that. We still got work to do. We got to go after that. That's all we can ask for. We can't do nothing else than that. The last thing we can do about 2K and Madden, let's be vocal as possible. Be as vocal as possible to try to influence some change.
Pretty much.
That's it. Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. If your team is playing this week, I hope they win. Of course, some of y'all team is going to lose. Mine could be the one. Remember who said it first? They bet not. But I would not be surprised if this year's Steelers give the Browns their first win. I would not be surprised. They've been playing. They play up to competition, play down to competition. Would not surprise me at all. But they better not lose in no daggone Cleveland. But that's all I got, man. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we holler at you guys 2 weeks from now. Be safe. Peace.
Peace.